Star Wars Episode VI, Return of the Jedi. Yes. Hello everybody, my name is Winter Lava.
And I'm Spritz Bambi.
And welcome back to our 6th review in our series of Star Wars reviews leading up to The Last Jedi in December. Now we're a little late, forgive us, but it's still early November, so we're only a few days late. But there will be a Force Awakens review later this month.
Yes.
So anyways, we're here to talk about Return of the Jedi. So if you like this, like, comment, subscribe, share, all the good stuff, you know the drill. So Episode 6 is directed by Richard Marquand. I believe I said that correctly. George Lucas was pretty hands-off for this one. Of course, he wrote it, helped produce it. But, you know, we kept back a little bit. We got the same stars as the usual, with the addition of Ian McDiarmid and the full-fledged Emperor. So the basic plot of this movie, carrying on not too far from the cliffhanger of Episode 5, Han is encased in carbonite, and Luke and the gang gotta go and rescue him. Luke gotta get back to Yoda for the, possibly, yes, it is the last time, and getting some more info, maybe a wee bit training. Then everybody reunites with the rebellion, and they go off to defeat the Death Star.
2.0.
Again. So, of course, the big thing for this movie is the second Death Star. It's the same thing, except they've taken away the weakness. But there's still a weakness because they're still building it, and the rebellion can still do stuff. So, you know, you can do the same thing, just the weakness is gone.
The weakness is the fact that it's being built.
Yeah.
There's not a fatal flaw like was in the original Death Star, which was fully built.
In the story, maybe it didn't seem like it knew how to finish. Maybe they didn't really know how to finish it, so they thought, well, another Death Star, and you take away its weakness, then how are you going to defeat it? Well, it's being built, and they realize it, so yay, Rebellion should be able to do it again. So let's do it again.
Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to do such a giant doomsday machine in the first movie. I don't think Lucas actually knew that he was going to do sequels to Star Wars Episode 4 in the first place. So I think the fact that he didn't really know means he didn't have these other two movies written until after he finished the first one. So you can tell by some of the story elements in the second and third movies, particular to this one, such as, Death Star 2.0. We can't think up a new, big thing for him to fight, so might as well just recycle the old one there.
And of course, where Han is being held, he's at Jabba's palace by the all-powerful Jabba, and we finally get to see him. No, he was not in Episode 4. No, not that weird CGI thing in the remastered version. It's the real puppeted. It's weird to say it's a puppet because you think of a puppet like that. But no, it's a big animatronic being powered by people. Slimy. Not very appealing character, but he's well done. He's a poopy head, that one.
Yeah, the introduction of Jabba, we finally get to know who he is. Again, we also know that Lucas really, the reason he put it back in the remastered ones is because he always wanted to introduce Jabba, and that was kind of lacking in the first movie, is like, who is this, this Jabba guy? He was not really a presence, and finally in this movie he's a presence. He really is a villain, and a pretty well-realized villain, and again, for such a large animatronic creature, or puppet creature, I think it's kind of half puppetry, half animatronics, a pretty well-done creature overall. He does look sufficiently revolting.
He got a Rancor, which is kind of his pet. I mean, he lives there. It's the other dude's pet, the guy that cries over him. Rancor's cool, you certainly don't want to be eaten by him. Like, Luke got away. Yippee. And, yeah. And then that takes us to a few scenes later, when they're being hauled out over the dune sea to be taken to the almighty Sarlacc. If you'll notice in the background, it doesn't look all that real. It's a blue-green screen. But it's not very good. It looks like a flat background, and it's right there on their faces. It looks kind of dull. doesn't hold up so much anymore.
Not one of the best special effects sequences that they had done, and it was probably one of the more difficult ones, which is understandable. But yeah, it certainly doesn't hold up as well as some of the other effects in the other movies, and in this movie too. Some of the, like the space battle.
Yeah. And of course, it's the Return of the Jedi. Luke is Jedi now. He looks cool. He got the Force powers. He seems like a Jedi, though he's not so elegant when he fights sometimes. But maybe they didn't have that. Like, even though he said an elegant weapon, he sort of just thrashed it around. So maybe you'd like to see some more elegance, but he still looked cool.
Yeah, Luke is he's obviously more mature and in control. He has some Jedi powers that, in his attempt to rescue Han from Jabba's palace. He got to display that. So it was nice to show a progression of this character, since we didn't really see the completion of his training at all. But we did certainly see him at least acting and looking like a Jedi, for sure.
And he uses his Jedi mind tricks on the weak mind.
So we've seen that his powers have developed.
We got you'd think Vader was the main villain, and I suppose he is, but behind Vader, there's the Emperor, played by Ian McDiarmid, and he just looks cool. Well, maybe, like, he's done it in a cool way, but he got a scarred face, the way he holds his hands, the way he talks, the way he looks. It's icky-ish, I guess. Creepy. But well done. It's a well done character. Menacing. Like, you get the sense that he has a lot of power, though he doesn't show it. But then he goes, Zah!
Well, again, I think this is one of the elements of the story. They didn't quite know where to go. Originally, Vader was supposed to be the big bad guy. But they had to add layers to this in order to keep this trilogy going. And so the Emperor was introduced in the last episode, Season 5, although they used a different actor. In this case,
Episode 5.
Or Episode 5, not Season 5. At any rate, so they actually introduced the Emperor in this movie, where he's actually there and doing stuff and things, and he's actually he's right there again. He's controlling the situation. So, and you have to rely on the fact that Vader takes orders from him. That's what really kind of gives you a clue to how powerful he is.
Yes. And the score is great as always. John Williams continues to...
He's a scoring machine. Yeah, very good score, as usual. John Williams is just rock solid. I think he probably does this... If he's still doing stuff right now, he is, right? He did, he's probably doing it. He's so good at it, he does it in his sleep now. So he's just consistently rock solid. You can always count on him. So another great score by John Williams.
And something that looks very, very good is the space battle, which, it's just like one of the best space battles you see, because you got the lights, you got the ships moving, you know what they're doing, and it doesn't look fake like in the prequels, where, Episode 3, it looks good, but you can tell it's more CGI. This is more, it's little things going, and then they put it in the background. It looks good. It looks good.
Well, again, the benefit of using real models instead of computer graphics. As good as computer graphics have gotten these days, when he did the prequels, they weren't that good. So I think that's why some older movies can still hold up in their special effects scenes if they're well done, and because they've used models. I'll go a little far afield. This is a Star Wars review, but the Star Trek television show used models, and it was really, really good, and it actually still looks pretty realistic by today's standards in some ways. So at any rate, yeah, really well done. And another great set piece kind of reminded me of the Hoth battle in Episode 5, just because it was a large special effects set piece that was done really well and used a lot of different techniques.
Okay. And the new planet, which is the forest moon of Endor, It's very cool. It's our first foresty planet. Looks very real because it is. And it's cool to see a new environment. Our heroes on a forest planet. It's got a cool battle scene. They got to take down that shield generator. And then we got Ewoks there too. And maybe we'll get to that in just a minute. But there's the speeder bike chase. And when they're doing the front-on scenes, looking at the characters, it looks like it doesn't hold up so well. The green screen looks pretty noticeable, I suppose. That was my take on it.
I think it was still a really good special effects set overall. They conveyed speed. The sense of speed was really well conveyed. It was exciting. No, it was good. And it was also, like you say, it was really good to see our heroes in something other than a traditional science fiction setting. You know, we've seen them on ships and on the Death Star and on Cloud City, you know, very populated areas. And now to see them in a forest, you know, and yes, and the big help with that is that it was filmed in an actual forest. So it means they don't have to, like, realize some weird world and, you know, introduce the new characters, the Ewoks, which were, I think, more a specific desire to take advantage of the merchandising opportunities for the kids. But still were an integral part of the story and helped the rebels defeat the Empire by taking down the shield generator and crushing Imperial walkers and stuff with logs. It was great.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Cool stuff. So overall, it's a good movie. It's probably my favorite Star Wars movie. Now, I don't love any of the Star Wars movies, but I think this is my favorite. So, for a change, let's start with your grade.
Well, in my conclusion is it's not one of my favorites. Again, like we touched on before, both Episode 5 and Episode 6 were written in a lot more hurried manner, I think, than Episode 4, because he really didn't know at this point that he would be making Episode 5 and Episode 6. So he had the characters, but I don't think he really had a story ready. So it shows in some of the lack of creativity, like we talked about, the Death Star 2.0 instead of some other threat that the Empire might have thought up. And the introduction of the Emperor was, again, he's a compelling character, but it just seemed a little odd. Darth Vader was like one of the ultimate villains in both his presentation and his charisma, and the Emperor was not. Again, the main reason the Emperor was threatening was because Vader took orders from him. That was it. So any real power, despite his Force lightning in the final battle and all that, any power the Emperor had was secondary to Vader's own subservience to the Emperor, because Vader was terrifying, especially in the first movie. Was a terrifying villain. The Emperor, again, is only terrifying by proxy, and again, another example of, oh gosh, we didn't really think we were going to be able to write after this. So, and, other things are minor. I was not a big fan. I think the special effects could have been better, and I was not a big fan of the scene in Jabba's palace. The music number in Jabba's palace. I didn't like the creature designs. I thought they were just kind of outlandish. Yeah. Instead of being, believably science fiction and believably weird, right? It was just the singer with just the lips at the end of his snout. Things like, come on, man. Exactly. So that's a rather long-winded conclusion thing there, but I think that there were some reasons why I don't like these as well as that Episode 4 movie, which was kind of a self-contained story, and this was just kind of, we have to continue this because we made so much money on the first one, it was so popular. So I'm actually going to give this a B-. That's my final grade on that.
You see that right there? A B-. Well, I guess, it's well scored, well acted. It's not badly put together. It has what it needs to finish off the story. But it did finish pretty quick. But I guess we're all happy. I enjoyed it. And so I'm gonna give it an A-. I think that's where I'm gonna be. So, yeah. I hope so, Admiral, for your sake. The Emperor is not as forgiving as I am. You know, Vader, like, he doesn't seem very forgiving, you know, with his choking all the people and stuff. So if he not forgiven, the Emperor is less forgiving. Like, personally, I wouldn't be wanting to bring the Emperor his dinner. Just my feeling. Anyways, guys, we hope you enjoyed this. Of course, like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends and family, and our Instagram is linked in the description below. If you follow us, we'll follow you back as always, and hopefully you look forward to the Force Awakens review later this month, and next month is The Last Jedi, if you can believe that. Maybe that will be my favorite Star Wars movie, and the first one I actually, like, really love. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy. This is Winter Lava.
And I'm Spritz Bammy.
Saying, always believe in yourselves. May the Force be with you. Always. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.